Hey, how's you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. Got an interesting project here today. We got a call from our power utility company, Nova Scotia Power, day before yesterday. Told us we're going to have a scheduled power outage today for about 6 hours. They're doing some maintenance on the substation that feeds our area. So anyways, good for them. I'm glad they're helping us out because they're great, especially when it comes to storms and whatnot. Boys, those linemen, you gotta love them, they're heroes. But it's cold, it's probably -1 right now, and with 6 hours of no power, we heat the camp with a wood stove and a heat pump, mainly the heat pump, but through the winter it'll be the wood stove more. So we can keep heat on in the camp with the wood stove, but with the power going out, we need to keep fridges going, you know, clocks alight so we can see. Anyways, what we're up to today is I'm going to hook up my generator. I have it in the sugar shack here. I'm going to run that, run the cable over, plug her into the camp, show you how we hook up our generator, power the camp when we have no power. I'm going to check the oil. That's good. And I like to start the generator, let the generator warm up while I run the extension cord back to the camp. So we'll start it now. It's a gas, I turn the gas on. It's electric start. The choke is on now too, so it usually starts right up, we'll see. Not this morning. Notice the 4-conductor plug, because I have 240 on this plug here when I plug in. Plug her in and twist it to lock it. So back here at the generator, I'm going to plug my cord in now, turn on the power, then we'll go in the camp and switch over. Alright, here in the camp, the lighting is terrible, of course, because we have no power, right? So in this cupboard here is where we have the electrical panel. This is my main panel, and this is the generator panel. Yeah, so this is a 3-pole single throw switch. When it's thrown to the right, that's when we're on utility power. In order to switch over, we just push the whole thing to the left. But before I do that, I always like to dump the load from my generator. So I'll turn off all these circuits from my generator. Now switch this over. Now we're on generator power. So I can turn these back on, just kind of balance them as best I can. Now, another thing I like to do, I'm going to open this window. I like to open the window so I can hear the sound of the generator as I'm loading it up. Nothing, nothing. Oh, there's a light. That'll make it better to see. Okay, now here's a big load. I've got a 30 amp breaker here. What that feeds is my water pump, some heat tape that I have under the camp to keep the lines from freezing and whatnot. So this might make her dance a little. Don't know whether you heard the change in pitch in the generator, but so there you go. That's all there is to it. We're back on generator power. We got a few lights so we can have some coffee, you know, make some dinner. So the power's going to be off for about 6 hours, they say. But here we have got a light there in the living room. The fan is going. Got a nice fire in the wood stove. Nanny's got that just nice and toasty and cozy. So we're good in here. Alright, so The power just came back on after the job that the power company was doing this morning. So we're going to switch back now to regular power. So I just wanted to show you what's involved in doing that. So once again here, we look at our generator panel. We open this up. So in the generator panel here, I don't have to shed any load now. I just leave the load the way it is, and I just move this switch back to generator side. And now we're back on utility power. Not sure if you noticed, when I switched back to utility power, there was a little flick there in the lights. That was just a momentary opening of the three-way switch there. You know, no switches are instantaneous, and they shouldn't be, because we were going from one source to another. So it should isolate the first source and then close to switch over to the second source, which in this case was the utility. So now we're going to go out and shut down the generator and coil up the extension cord, put everything away. So what I like to do with the generator is just turn the gas off there and just let itself run empty. Keeps the carburetor clean and helps prevent you know, fuel gummy build-up in the carburetor. And now because I store this out in the sugar shack where there could be critters, I'm just going to close the choke on it, just in case any critters get in around the air cleaner, that they don't actually crawl down into the throat of the carburetor. And then that's just the way I store it, with the fuel shut off and the carburetor bowl empty and the choke turned on. By the way, I burned about a half a tank today. We say 5.5 hours of running maybe, and it burnt, I think the tank holds 20 liters, so it burnt 10 liters in 5 hours. We'll say 10 liters in 5 hours. So, you know, it's expensive to run a gas generator, but it sure is nice having the power on when the utility is down. So now the hardest part about this whole job, in my opinion anyway, is coiling up this 65-foot extension cord. Now I have a hanger inside the sugar shack here, and I just store it on that. But it's a heavy cable. And then hose up the sugar shack. So not a lot involved to change over from utility power to the generator. The transfer switch in the camp, that's the key to the whole shoot match right there as far as I'm concerned. With that 3-pole switch, you can switch from utilities to the generator with just the throw of a switch. Works good. But I like to make sure I dump all the load off the generator before I switch over, because I didn't do that one time, and we had, well, there's a couple of fridges in the camp that are on this generator. There's a water pump. There's also one hot water heater. Yeah, believe it or not, bunch of outlets. Anyways, we had a ton of load come on the generator because we had been away for the day. When we came home, there was no power, and when we switched over, man, the generator boat danced straight out of that sugar shack. The load was some strong on it, but it wasn't more than 30 amps or it would trip the breaker. And that's another safety feature you have to consider. We have 30 amp 220 volt outlet on that generator. 5500 watts can supply just about 30 amps, so that's okay. So that's what we the load that we picked to run in the camp off the generator, that load is wired to that generator panel switch that I was showing you, and that load doesn't exceed 60 amps, so, or 30 amps I mean, so we're good to go that way. That extension cord, by the way, is 65 feet long, and it's number 10 wire, 3 conduction number 10 with the ground. So you need to have the number 10 to handle the 30 amp. So we're all set up. The generator, if you're thinking of doing this at home, the generator, generators are pretty expensive. They probably go between, I'm going to say, around 750 bucks maybe for a 6,000 watt generator. And 6,000 watt is about all you need. Maybe you can get them 7,200 watt. That might be a better choice because then you have a little bit of wiggle room there. You're not running the generator wide open all the time, full load. So 7,200 watt might be nice. Mine is only 5,500, but anyways, that's the way she goes. But the generator would be like, let's say 750 bucks. Well, then you have to buy the cable for the cord to run from the generator to the camp or your house. And man, electrical cable is pricey these days with the price of copper. But the most surprising part of this whole project was buying the outlets, the plugs. Those things are golden. They were $75 each, I think, something like that. And then of course the utility panel in the camp was around $125. And you got to get some circuit breakers for it, and it all adds up. So anyways, it's an expensive proposition is what I'm trying to say, to set up a generator with a cable back to your house and a proper transfer panel in the house. But it's worth it. You saw here the power went out while I was filming. While I was doing this, it probably took me 15 minutes, but generally it's like 5 minutes and you can go sit back in the chair. And if the satellite is working, and we have satellite TV here, and it doesn't go out with the power outage, so we sit back in the chair and watch TV. It's all good. Anyways, another good thing about having the generator wired this way to a utility or a generator transfer switch is when the power comes back on now, when utility power comes back on, we have a smoke detector in the camp that's not wired through the panel, and also the light on the stove. They'll light up and the smoke alarm will beep. So that lets us know that utility power is back on, so we can go switch back, get off the generator, back on utility power. You see a lot of like Generac is one that comes to mind, where they have the plug-in for your generator right at the meter base, and you plug that in. And Generac is a very good make. Don't get me wrong; it's a very good make. I would recommend them. They have nice inverter generators, which are nice, clean 60 cycle power, which is important if you're running a lot of electronics. And on their meter base where you plug it in, they have a series of little LED lights. There's one light lights up, says you have utility power. There's one lights up, says that the generator is in and operational, and there's another one lights up that says you're on generator power. So unless you examine those lights on your meter base, you don't know when the power comes back on, because on this Generac one, when you plug in the generator at the meter base, that isolates utility power from your whole dwelling, your whole camp, house, whatever it might be. So when the utility power comes back on at the pole, you have no way of knowing that in your actual dwelling unless you go and examine those lights every once in a while. Whereas the way I have this set up with the transfer switch, when power comes back on, a few odd lights in the camp that aren't powered by the generator will light up. Like I say, the smoke alarm will beep, the stove will come on, so I know right away when the power comes back on. Switch over my generator panel, go unplug it, coil up the cord, shut the generator down, and what I do when I shut it down is I turn the fuel off, let the bowl run dry, just let the generator run out of gas, and it keeps the generator in good shape. Except today, it wasn't starting. I'm not sure what's up with that. I think my old fuel might be the cause, because I hadn't run the generator probably since last spring, and I usually try to run the generator once a month, but this summer was just nuts and crazy, and to be honest, I forgot all about it. There you go, getting old. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you're safe and warm and cozy where you are today, because Nanny and I sure are, now that we got the generator going. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you.